I'd like to talk about at the end of the day. What do we mean by that? Well, I'm a little bit of my take on that sort of phrase, at the end of the day. But before we get into that, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Ghazala at the Heart and Soul Cafe. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back again. I do appreciate that. And if you're here for the first time, then welcome. So at the end of the day, we hear that a lot, don't we? When I think about at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, at the end of maybe your last day. And I don't want to be for it to sound morbid, but the way I see it after losing my son is that I don't want any regrets at the end of the day. And so thinking forward to that time, if I get an opportunity to reflect about my life, let's say if I have some time where, at the end of my life, that I have some time that I can reflect and I can maybe connect with my loved ones and say the things I want to say, and hopefully I have already said the things I want to say, and I've not left anything unsaid. Hopefully I've not fallen out with anyone, so I need to try and get that person, to my bedside, so that I can make up, hopefully I won't have any of that because I've already thought about it now. And, losing someone so close to you like a child, I think prompts you to think that way. And those of you who have unfortunately experienced something similar to what I have experienced will probably know what I'm talking about. You don't want to fall out with people. You don't really want to, because you sort of think, well, I think that there's just so much more to life than falling out and holding grudges, and it's just not something that I would want to hold, because it's negativity. It's holding on to negativity and holding on to grudges, and it gets in the way of healing, or it gets in the way of trying to help others if you're holding on to that negativity. And that's something that I don't want to do. I just don't want to do that. So for me, at the end of the day is very much, you have those days where you think, some of you might be able to resonate with me, but sometimes when I've got so many things to do around the house, let's say, and I want to do this and I want to do that, the laundry and the cleaning and this and that, and then you get into bed at the end of the day having had a shower, clean pajamas, clean sheets, and a nice clean house, and you think, that feels good. That for me is a good end to the day. Okay. And someone said to me once, I remember a few years ago, when you think about life and death, does it scare you? And I think once upon a time it did a little bit when I thought about dying, and, it did scare me. But after losing my son, it doesn't really any longer scare me, because someone so close to me has passed away. That has taken the fear out of it for me. And I do think of it as, I want to be in that place where, as if I've got into bed at night and it's at the end of the day and I've done all the things I wanted to do. I've changed all the sheets, I've had a shower, I've cleaned pajamas, etc., and you think, I've done everything I needed to do. I don't know if I'm making any sense with this, but I'm sort of thinking, I want to feel like that at the end of my life. So at the end of the day, I don't want there to be any regrets. I don't want to look back and thinking, if only I had done this, if only I had done that, if only I had have made up with my neighbor that I fell out with over something so trivial, and things sometimes escalate from something so trivial. A lot of arguments that happen between family members, between siblings, are over something that was really, really trivial to start off with. it just escalated. It escalated, and everyone allowed it to escalate to a point where, you've fallen out and you're no longer talking to each other. That really does sadden me. It really does. And I do know people I do have friends who have fallen out with their siblings, their loved ones, and I just think it's so sad because we just don't know how much time we have. And do we want to spend that time not talking to each other? Yeah, that really does upset me quite a lot. That doesn't mean to say I've never in my life fallen out with my siblings or, loved ones. I have. But thankfully, I'm no longer in a position where I'm not talking to anyone. I haven't fallen out with anybody where I think, I just wouldn't talk to them. That's not something that I would do. And I think it's so freeing, and you feel so light because of it, And sometimes people say things to you that hurt your feelings. And what do I do when that happens? Well, I think, is it okay, what somebody has just said to me hurt me, but am I going to fall out with them or not going to speak to them ever again because of it? Well, it depends on what was said and how close that person is to me. Because if that person's very close to me, I might even go to it and say, do you know when you said so, such and such and such and such, this is actually how it made me feel. And they might not have realized that they said, that they said something that hurt my feelings. And that might clear up the whole situation. And then sometimes it could be something that I could just let go of. Okay, I think they said it out of ignorance. I think they didn't mean to sort of say anything hurtful, but I've just taken it that way. And I don't want to fall out with, that person because of it. So I'm not going to do that. And, either I'm going to let it go, or I'm going to, say and have that discussion with that person. Probably not during the time I'm feeling emotional about it, but probably a time when I'm not feeling emotionally about it. So it's not an emotionally charged conversation. It's more of a calm kind of conversation. Do you remember that time when blah, 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 et cetera happened, and you said this and I said this and then you said this? It actually really, and have that conversation. And most times you will find that that person didn't mean to say anything to hurt your feelings, and it was said out of either jest, sort of jokingly, or they just didn't realize what they said actually had any impact on you. So, sometimes you can just clear the air. But I think it's so important to not hold on to anything that's negative, because I think that stops you from moving forward. It stops any kind of healing. It stops any kind of positive thinking, and I think that is a not a good thing for those sort of things to be pulled back. I think there's enough things that happen in life that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis without holding on to sort of negativity. So at the end of the day, you are in a place where you don't have regrets, where you don't think, I could have made something right, I could have done right, I could have done something to, have avoided this situation that I'm in now. And so think about that. At the end of the day, I want to be in a situation, I want to be able to look back and think, I don't have any regrets. I don't think I think I did all the things I could have done. I think I did all the things that I needed to have done. Said all the right things, said the things I wanted to say to people that I wanted to say them to when I could do it. And so at the end of the day, I'm feeling quite good with things, is really what I wanted to say in this video. I hope it made sense to you. it's something that I have thought about so many times before, about how I want to feel if I have an opportunity to reflect at the end of life. Those are the sort of things I'd like to think about. So yeah, how is it for you? I'd like to, for you to share. Comment, please, and do subscribe, because we do need to build up these numbers, to build this platform, to build this community where we can help each other along. Thank you so much for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, look after your hearts and souls. Thank you.